Welcome to the course Data Analysis and Business Intelligence with Tableau, Week 4. We will be discussing about filtering and table calculations in this week. A bit about the last week's topics. We discussed about the sheet interface in Tableau, data types and their representation, dimensions and measures, and how are we going to use dimension and measure. We discussed a bit about discrete and continuous values. We discussed about sort, custom sort, and how to group values in Tableau. We also spoke about how many ways do we have in Tableau to do this sorting and custom sorting, and how many ways do we have to do grouping in Tableau. We discussed about sets, combined sets, and where to use them, how to create a set, how to create a combined set from the already existing sets, and when and where to use them. Hierarchies and when to use them. Hierarchies will give users an option to drill down the data and how to add the hierarchies onto your view. Split and custom split of data, how to split and also how to custom split, and how to use that columns in your views. Moving on to table of contents for this week, we are going to discuss about filters, filter types, and their order process. How to highlight data. Context filter and its uses. We're going to discuss about calculated fields, aggregations and its uses, table calculations, LODs, which are level of expression, detailed expressions, bins and its uses. So for this week, the learning objective for our session is how to use filters in your views and how will they work when so many types of filters are used in their view, and what is their order process. And in this filters, we have a filter called context filter. We will discuss about how to use the context filter, what is context filter, etc. Calculated fields and their syntaxes, how to write a calculated field inside Tableau and what are the available syntaxes for us, and aggregation and their uses, how to aggregate data and how to change the aggregation to a different aggregation, how to create groups inside calculations. We will also discuss about table calculations, LODs, level of detail expressions, and how to create bins and its uses. So the first topic for this session is filters and their order. What are filters? Filters are used to restrict the data from a data set based on the view and the requirement. So you will filter the data based upon your requirement and how you want to see the data inside your view. And we have different types of filters in Tableau. And what are those filters? We have extract filters, data source filters, context filters, dimension filters, and measure filters. And we also have an order of operations for these filters, and we will go learn them in this kind of order only. So the first one for our filters is extract filter, and the second one is a data source filter. We will discuss into detail of filters while we are doing the software demo, and this is the order to actually remember whenever you're using your filters in the view to actually create a bit optimized dashboard, and which will also improve the performance of the dashboard. So this order is very important to remember whenever you're using filters. So extract filters and data source filters are used before loading the data into your Tableau, and this is the filter which you place on the data source page itself. Later we will be moved into context filters. After context filters, we have filters on dimensions, because you will use dimensions onto the filters, and these are dimension filters whether on the filter shelf or in the filter card in the view. Filters on measures which are used in the filters are called measure filters, and this also, even if it is on the filter shelf or on the cards view, these are called measure filters. So this is our order of the filtering process. The first one is extract, the second one is data source. I'm actually stressing on this order so many times because this is really important. So the first one would be extract and next one would be data source, because these are at the level of data source filters and this will exclude the data from the starting itself. Later the context filter, and later we have dimension filters. If we have LODs as filters, fixed LOD come in between the context and the dimension filter. And later we have measure filters, and if we have a LOD on include or exclude, this will come in between dimensions and the measure filter. At the last we have table calculation filters. We will discuss about these LODs of fixed, include and exclude in the coming sessions, but it is better to remember that this is the order of filters, and whenever you use an LOD, if it is a fixed, it will go in between context and dimension, and if it is a include or exclude, it will go in between the dimension and measure filter. So we will quickly review all these filters in our tool, so it will be better understood on the tool. I will take a new workbook because I need to explain the data source and the extract filters, so it is always better to understand them on the new workbook. I'm going to connect to the Excel sheet which we used as the practice file, and so the data is loading up, and we will use this full data only as our data source, and we just connected our data into the data source. I'm just going to back to the sheet 1, and this is our main page. So in this session we will learn how to apply the filters on the data in a Tableau workbook. Here we will learn about applying simple Tableau filters on the data visuals, as well as some advanced type of filters like extract and interactive filters. So we will learn this filter based on the order of operations itself, because this is an important topic. Before you begin filtering the data into Tableau, it is important to understand the order in which Tableau executes these filters in your workbook. So Tableau performs actions on your view in a very specific order. This is called the order of operations. So filter are executed in this following order, and the first one would be our extract filters. So let me create some view to show you the ways to filter in Tableau. So for that I will be creating a view with a scatter plot. Let's say I'm having a discount and profit. So we have discount and profit in columns and rows. So we just got only one because we are only using measure in our data. So I'm just dragging the product name into the detail, and to get this marks, complete different marks, I'm also dragging this product details. Let me drag a category into color, because we will get 3 colors per category. This is how this product discount and profit looks like when you drag onto the view. Okay, now we are going to see how we can filter the data from the view itself. Okay, let's select the least ones which are in this part, because these are coming under 0, and let's select I want to exclude these. I want to filter them out from my view. Okay, I will just get this command button. If you just hover on it, I'll just this command button, and this includes keep only and exclude. So keep only is only including that content, whatever you have selected on the 65 items selected, and that sum of discount would be coming to 80. So exclude is excluding them from your view. Let's say we want to exclude these circles in our view. So what happened is this exclusions came into this filter card. Okay, and let's see how that looks like if you just click onto the filter and click on edit filter. It just excluded 65 items from your view. If you see here, excluded 65 of your total 1800 views, and all of those excluded ones will be checked here and exclude button will be applied. That's how you can exclude exclude the data from your direct view itself. What if you want to see only this content in your view, and you can select that marks from on the view, and you can select keep only. That actually includes only that data in the view, because you said keep only, and this 142 items selected will be under the inclusions. This says inclusions, and this is according to the category and also the product name. The filter is according to the category and the product name. And this filter, we already discussed about sets, right? This filter will be actually a set, because we are filtering according to different dimensions, and we are selecting here, and we are just telling it to keep only or exclude only. This is also one kind of filter, but this will be formed as a set. If you see the icon over here, this is showing that this is a set. Okay, this is one type of way of filtering, and you can also select headers to filter the data from your view. Let's see how we are going to select from the headers. Okay, I'm dragging a region. Okay, let's drag category. Let's drag also subcategory. Let's give some value to the to our view. So this is our view, right? So we can only we can filter out based on the headers. Let's say I want to only look at furniture. I will say furniture keep only, because 16 items got selected, and if you click keep only category, it will be selected to furniture. To filter entire rows or columns of data from your view, you can actually select this kind of filter from the header on the tooltip that appears, and you can select either exclude or keep only from your selected data. When you select a table header that is a part of a hierarchy, all of the next level headers are also selected if it is a hierarchy. For example, if you just show two unrelated dimensions like this, it will be filtered based on only one. If you just keep a hierarchy, it will be filtered out based on the hierarchy also. So by this way, you can actually filter out from the headers itself on the view. So there is one more option to filter out, and you can simply drag and drop whatever filters you want onto the filter shelf. Another way is actually dragging and dropping, right? So this is the easier option to actually select filters. Let's say I'm looking at order date, and I'm looking at subcategory, and I'm looking at how many quantity or sold. So I just want to only look at 2017 data. So in this case, I'll simply drag order date in here, select years, and select on 2017 data only. I will uncheck everything and I'll click on OK. So this will show only 2000 data. This is one other way to actually filter out your content. So these are the ways to do the filtering, and we have different types of filters, right? We will move on to discuss about what kind of filters we have in Tableau. We will come in the same order, in the order of operations. Okay. So let's say, let's talk about extract filters in Tableau. This extract filters will create an extract of a small subset of data from the original data source. Okay, whenever we connect our data to the data source, it gives us two options, right? Live or extract. Okay, when we extract the data from the data source, Tableau will create a local copy of that subset of data. Okay, and when you apply a filter on that extract, it will give that subset of data into the limited content. Let's see how we are going to do that. Okay, just right click on the data source in here, our data source, and you have to extract the data out to create an extract filter. So this one is the pop-up option you will get whenever you're creating the extract. We already discussed about live and extract versions, and we know what options we have in here. So the next thing is to add filters over here. Okay, I just need the data for region West. So this one right now only keeps the West data region, and I'll just say extract. So what Tableau will do in this is it will ask you to store the file somewhere. This is called hyperfile, and it will store the data in your local system. Let's check on if our data is extracted. One way to check if our data is extracted, we will get 2 cylinders over here. That is one. And if you want to check here, it will use this check mark, use as extract, and you will see all these options under the extract versions. Generally, it will be gray out. So this one, if you see here, whether you have got the filter right, let's drag region onto our view. See, we only got West. That says that our data is completely filtered out to only West. These are known as extract filters. And the second one for us is a data source filter. Using this data source filter in Tableau, we can directly apply our filter conditions on the data source level itself. This filters out the data at the data source and then uploads the remaining data into our Tableau worksheet. So to apply this data source filter, what we have to do is we just have to go to our data source page. You can click on here, or you can go to data and click on the edit data source. For this data source filter, we already extracted our data, but for the data source filter, it has to be a live connection. Just remember, this has to be a live connection to actually apply a data source filter. So what we are going to do is click on add under the filters one and add whatever you want to filter out for. Let's say I'm going to filter out for my segment, and I'm filtering for home office. If you can see here that the segment is only displaying keeps home office, I'm clicking on OK, and I'm clicking on to our sheet. This is a data source filter, and if you want to check whether your filter worked or not, just drag your segment in here. You can see only home office, right? This is a data source filter. And I'm repeating again, this data source filter are live. If you are creating an extract version and you're filtering, that would be an extract filter. Data source filters will only come for the live data sources. So to edit a data source filter, you just have to go to the data, click on this data source on the data source name, and you can edit data source filter from here. If you want to remove that data source, just click on this and remove. If you want to edit the already existing data filter, you can click on edit. Right now, I just want my complete data onto my practice file, so I'm removing it and I'm clicking on OK. See, your data actually popped up with all the segments. This is how you do a data source filter and the extract filter. Remember that these extract filters and data source filters filter your data on the data source level itself, because even the extract filter will extract the data whichever you have filtered it out and load the data into your workbook. So you will be only seeing that data for your entire workbook. And whenever you're working only on a subset of data, these two filters will be really helpful to work upon and create a subset from your data. In the next filter, we will be discussing about context filters into a deeper level in the coming sessions, but we will be moving into dimensions filters. Dimensions filters are the filters that we apply on individual dimensions here. These are not aggregated, and so we can select a distinct values whatever are available inside these columns. To apply the dimension filter, you just have to drag one or more couple of dimensions onto your filters. Let's say I'm just dragging category over here. These are the options available for me inside a category, and I will just select one or two filters onto my category and it will display the content here. So I just selected only technology under my category right now. Let's check the subcategory, what category has for technology. And if you see, subcategory only came up for accessories, copiers, phones, etc., right? But if you just go on with one other filter, let's say I also want home supplies. Okay, edit filter, and I am clicking on home office supplies. Okay, the subcategory actually has so many right now because we have so many subcategories in the home supplies, right? We only also selected home supplies. This is how it will display if you put dimensions onto your filters. And the next one for us would be measure filters, how measure filter will work. For that to actually understand better, I will also drag one more measure onto our view. Okay, let's remove this one also. Let's add category over here, and we have segment over here. Let's create this hierarchy level filter. Okay, we have category, subcategory, and we are having sum of sales. And the measure filters are the filters that we apply using the measure fields only. That means these fields only. Measure values are always aggregated. It can be aggregated to sum, average, minimum, maximum, etc. To apply this measure filter, you just have to drag and drop that column, whatever you need, onto your filters column. Okay, let's drag quantity column. To understand this better, I am just displaying the labels. You can display it here also. Okay, entire view. Okay, this is a view. We have a category and subcategory and sales, and I am dragging quantity. So whenever you're dragging quantity on your sales, you will get an option to select at the aggregation part also. If you go with all values, you will be seeing a range of the quantity available, and you will have different options. We will be discussing these also. And right now, I'll be selecting. Okay, my quantity should be at least 5. And I'm saying that my quantity minimum value should be at least 5. Let's click on OK. See, if you observe here, we have got different values, right? Because the quantity has been changed to 5, and from 1 to 4 has been excluded, and the rows for only 5 and above are displayed. That's how you do a measure filter, and this is the one for the measure filter. Now we have seen kinds of filters, and we will be discussing more about filters in the coming sessions, about context filters also, about LODs also. We will be learning how to use these filters when you drag the columns into the filter shelf. Let's say dimensions contain discrete categorical content. So filtering this type will generally involve selecting the values manually to include or exclude. So whenever you drag a dimension from the data pane onto the filter shelf, what you see is, let's drag one onto the filter shelf. So this is how you see the data whenever you drag dimensions, right? Because these are not aggregated values, these are unique and distinct. So each and every value will be shown here, and you have to select them manually to exclude or include. In this filter pop-up box, you can see 4 options available here. One is general, the second one is wildcard, third one is condition, and the fourth one is top. So the general tabs will show all the values which you can include or exclude. So for include, you just have to check on them and just click on OK. For exclude, you might have to check this checkbox, and this one are striked off. It says that you are excluding these 2 contents from your view. So this is how a general view in the filter box looks like. What is a wildcard? So wildcard had these options. Using a wildcard type, it can define a pattern on the filter. For example, when you're filtering on email addresses, you might want only to include emails by a specific domain. Okay, you can define a wildcard filter and says, okay, click on ends with and say at hotmail.com, and you can bring out all the emails which have only that at the ending part. And you can also say starts with, so I'm picking up all the people who has the name John and with the start as John. So I'll be picking up all the people and I'll say, okay, matching value should be John. If you want to use contain, you can use contain and say, okay, my email ID should contain this word inside that. So this is how you use a wildcard option. And later we have this condition option. Condition option in the filter dialog box actually define rules to filter. For example, in this view, you have to show by field sales, and you have to show the average of sales should be maybe 5,000 or 10,000, and you want to show only the products who has an average of 5,000. Then you can use this condition part, and you can also use range of values. Or else you can write a formula like if else or when or case. You can write any formula over here to bring up the filters according to that formula. So the last one we have over here in the filter box is top option. Using a top option in this filter defines a formula, okay, that computes the data and that will include the data based upon your top formula. For example, if you want to show only top 10 of customer ID on the count, you can actually show this by this. And if you want to show only top 10 which matches with the average time of ship to one particular value, you can also do that according to the field you select over here. Okay, I just want to see the top 10 values. This is an aggregated value, right? So you just need to select a measure over here. Let's say I just want to see the top 10 values who has a quantity of an average of that much. So it will go with the quantity average and picks up the top 10 people from it. This is how we use a top card in the filter box. So these are the options which are available for dimensions whenever using them in the filter box. So we will be seeing what are the options you will get in the measures part. These are qualitative options. So I am dragging quantity onto my filters box. Okay, measures contain quantitative data, right? So generally filtering this data involves selecting ranges that you want to include or exclude. So when you drag this measure from the data into the filter, you will see this pop-up box and you will be seeing aggregated versions which you want to select to. And if you select some aggregated and version and click on next, the subsequent dialog box will appear and you have different options over here. So 4 options, let's say. The first one would be range of values. So selecting the range from 1 to whatever, by default Tableau actually selects the minimum and the maximum over here in the range. You can edit the range into whatever value you needed and you can write it over here. The next one is at least, like we saw this example just now, right? We can select some value, at least says that. Say, if, for example, let's say your data contains zeros and you do not want to see zeros. Let's say you're dragging the measure onto your filter pane and you wanted to see only once in your view, and without zeros, you just have to write 1 over here and click on OK, so that Tableau will exclude all the zeros from your view. This is how you use at least, and we have at most. So at most option include all the values that are less than or equal to that specified maximum value. And if you say the 14 is the highest value in our view right now, but you can say any other number which is less than that number, you want to pick up, okay, this should be my highest number and I should see all the values which has under this. So you can go with the highest number over here and click on at most. Special has the special options to filter null values. Okay, the three options we have here is null values, non-null values, and all values. So null values brings up the data which are blank. Okay, you do not have any data over here. That data will be shown on your view. Non-null values is you will be excluding all those blanks and the remaining data will be shown here. All values is everything. These are the options we have in measure filters. The next one I'm discussing about is actually how to filter the date. Okay, whenever you add any date onto your filter option, you will be seeing these values over here, and you can select whether you want to filter on a relative date, filter between a range of dates, or select discrete dates or individual dates based upon your view. Okay, how to filter a relative date? Double click on the relative date and you will be seeing these options in your view. The relative date defines the range of dates. I mean, that updates based upon the date and time you open. This will be displaying the dates according to the data. For example, if you want to see year-to-date sales, you can actually click on years and go with year to date. The date will be displaying over here. It will take the current date from our systems, and this is 2021, so it will be displaying Jan 1st to 2021 to whatever date it is for your current date. So you will have an option to filter out for year, quarter, months, weeks, and days. You can filter out any value you want based upon the date functions. This date function is very important. You can use it very vastly whenever you're working with the date contents. So the next one is actually the range of dates. So range of date is a fixed range of date. For example, you want to see all the orders placed between 2014 to 15 or that particular date to this particular date. You can create the date manually over here and you can see that. So the next option would be starting date. Starting date is the first date, or else you want to display your data from one particular state. You can select that. Edit this date to one particular date, and this date will display all the content from one particular date, and ending date is a vice versa. You can write an ending date over here. That date will be at the last of your data, and this will display all the dates before that. We do also have special values in the order date, like year date filters. These are null dates, non-null dates, and all dates. These are same as what we spoke before. This kind of special values will filter out the null data or include only null data or give all the available dates over here. So this is one kind of option you have in date filters. The next one would be range of dates. If you click on range of dates, it will directly redirect to the second tab, the first one you've seen, relative dates, right? It will directly redirect to your range of dates. We do have some more options in the date filter. You can go directly to the years, quarters, months, days, week numbers, weeks, month, year, month, day, year, or if you want to pick an individual date, you can even go with the individual. I do not prefer to use these aggregated functions whenever I'm going with the date values, but you can use all these functions from years to individual dates. Let's say I want to see all the individual dates in my whatever workbook I have. Tableau will display each and every date you have at the back end. So this one starts with 7/1/2014 and ends with 5/1/2018. So this will display each and everything in your data. And if you want to filter out the latest date value, you can check this box which says filter to latest date value whenever the workbook is opened. it will filter out the last date it has, the maximum date it has. And whenever you open your workbook and whenever your data is filtered at the back end, if you keep this, you don't have to change the date whenever your data is updated. Tableau will automatically pick up the latest date and checks this, and you can filter out based upon the latest date. So these are all the filters available for us. We have seen what kinds of filter we have, how to filter your data in different ways, and whenever you're using dimensions, measures, or dates, what are the options you are getting and what to use, when to use, etc. So let's quickly move back to our topic, highlight data.